would be interesting to show you how I am going about setting up my own fitness goals for the next few months, so you can see what kind of goes into the whole process and what you should be paying attention to if you want to set up your own plan. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jodie and I help you change your beliefs so you can change your body, your health, and your life. Now, one of my clients asked me the other day what I'm doing in terms of my goals now that I can go back to gym. What am I doing in terms of my training and my diet and stuff? And so I thought it would be interesting to share this with you so you can kind of understand from a coach's perspective how I go about setting things up, because there's a lot more involved than just, okay, I want to do this and I want it by this time and this is my plan, this is my diet or my macros that I'm going to stick to. A lot of people miss the first step that is really, really important, and so that's why I wanted to go through all of this and show you. It's not just a simple start this training plan and start these macros and expect to get this result in 12 weeks. Like, that's not the case. So this is how I break it down. The first thing I like to do is look at what the problem is. So just say it's for a client, but I'm going to speak about myself in this video just because it's easiest to demonstrate things through myself. So the first thing I look at is what is my primary problem and what is my secondary problem. So this is really, really important to get the problem correct, because I know a lot of you think you want to lose fat, but you often have a primary problem before you need to focus on fat loss. You have something else, like a step beforehand, that you need to worry about before you go into fat loss. But most of you are so concerned with losing the fat, you're not addressing that primary problem, and then you don't achieve the fat loss goal that you have. So I hope that makes sense. So my primary problem is a lack of muscle. So my goal is to build more muscle. So the problem is lacking muscle, and then the secondary problem is adherence. Now, I don't mean this in terms of I'm not able to track and stick to my diet. My adherence problem comes from having a fear of gaining weight, and that fear keeps holding me back from actually committing properly to a bulk. Like, I have bulked in the past, but I never get past a certain amount on the scale because I'm scared to go over that number. So I'm still working on my own fears, even though I know how to kind of deal with someone else's fears and advise them how to break through them. I'm still working on this myself. So, and I know I can do it, it's just a matter of doing it. And it's very easy to say, oh, I don't have any fears around the scale and I don't have any fears anymore about gaining weight because I have gained weight. But the truth is, like, there's still a little part of me that is scared. And so what I do, and I know this from experience, is when I get my macro targets, I will not hit them deliberately. I will deliberately fall under to make sure I'm closer to maintenance than what I am to closer to being in a surplus, because you need a calorie surplus to build muscle unless you are a beginner at the gym or skinny fat, or which usually means you're a beginner at the gym, or unless you're coming back to training from a long period of being away from training. So in my case, I really do need to be eating in a calorie surplus. Now, it doesn't need to be a massive surplus, it can just be a small surplus, but I need to make sure I'm in that surplus. And my problem is, usually when I'm working out my macros, I will set myself a small surplus. And so because I deliberately fall under to just make sure that I'm under and not gaining fat, I will fall on my maintenance calories. So I still build muscle, but it's a lot slower, and I'm not really doing what I set out to do. So that is why I know my secondary problem, which maybe even could be my primary problem, really. I need to work on this adherence, and I have a trick that I'm going to get to later when I touch on nutrition in this video that will help with that. But hopefully you can see that knowing the primary and secondary problems will help you then identify the solution that is right for you. Because I could just very easily say, okay, I want to build muscle, and then ignore this adherence problem, and then I'm just going to keep repeating that same cycle of having this goal to build muscle and wanting to build muscle, but always falling short of my goal. Yes, I'll build muscle, but not as much as I could, and I'm just going to be repeating the same cycle unless I address this problem. And that's what a lot of clients that come to me, and a lot of you probably do. You're just repeating the same cycle, trying different variations of the same thing and not actually addressing the underlying problem. So I see this all the time with fat loss, especially with females that are stuck on low calories. They think they need to cut calories further, and so they try a different diet. Calorie counting didn't work, this didn't work, they try something else. And in reality, your problem isn't that you need to lose fat. Your problem is you need to build up your metabolism first, get yourself in a better position to lose fat, and then start a calorie deficit, and it will work for you then. So making sure you're super clear on the problems is going to set you up for success from the start, because like this is the first time I'm actually going to address my adherence problem. So I know I'm going to be a lot more successful in this bulk than what I have been in the past, because I am working on this. So super important. Once you have the primary problem, secondary problem, and you're clear on those, everything else gets easy because you just need a solution to the problems. Where most of you go wrong is you've got the wrong problem to start with, or there's an underlying problem that you're not addressing, and because you continue to not address it, you continue to stay stuck in a cycle of trying things, not really getting anywhere, and trying something new, not really getting anywhere, because you're not addressing that underlying problem. Now I know the problem, or both problems, we can come up with a solution. So the solution is to build muscle. So what is going to be the most important things to help me build muscle? The things I really need to focus on are training and recovery. So training is pretty easy. All I need to do is follow a periodized program and make sure that I am progressively overloading. So aiming to build up my strength over the next few months is going to be really important, because my goal is to build muscle, and strength going up is a very good indicator that you are building muscle. If you just do the program and you keep doing the same thing over and over again, you're going to plateau very quickly. And the next really important thing for muscle building is recovery. So this has two components. The first one being sleep. Now that is something I know from experience I'm really bad at as well, so I'm going to have to work on my sleep, making sure I get enough, and obviously nutrition. So with my nutrition, I am starting at my maintenance calories for the next few weeks, just because I'm getting into that habit of being back in the gym. I've had 2.5 months away from the gym. I have been working out from home, but just body weight. So I want to just get some baseline numbers in terms of my body weight and making sure my maintenance calories are on point. And then once I'm clear on what they are, I am going to increase them by 200 calories. Now, usually I would just add 100 calories to do a lean bulk, like a very slow bulk. But because I know in the past I have this adherence problem, instead of adding just 100 calories, I'm going to trick myself and add 200 calories, because I know then I'm probably going to fall short. And so even if I fall short, I'm still going to be in the surplus. If I just added the 100 calories above my maintenance calories, then I would probably get back into a habit of falling short and then only hitting my maintenance. So the goal is going to be to build muscle, to gain weight, and therefore I want to be in a small surplus. It doesn't have to be big, but it does have to be there. So by giving myself that extra target to hit, or the extra high target to hit, the extra 200 calories, I'm going to be more likely to adhere to the surplus. And that's just a trick that I know will work for me. Everyone is different. That might not work for you, but this is where things get complicated, especially when it involves the mental aspect and the art of coaching. Like there's the science, which is usually the calories and the training plan, but when it comes to adherence and the mental battle of, fearing the scale and maybe even being scared to go into the gym and lift heavy weights and things like that, the mental side is a lot harder to deal with. So the next thing that is important that I'm going to be doing is making sure I'm tracking progress correctly. This is super, super, super important. If you are just focusing on the scale weight, you are not taking into account enough forms of progress, whether your goal is fat loss or whether it's muscle building. So my goal is to build muscle. The two things that are going to be super important for my progress are going to be strength and body weight, and also my body waist, but more so body weight in this instance, just because I know my weight will fluctuate throughout the month, but overall I should be only gaining about 1 kilo per month according to the scientific calculations that I've done. So the goal should be very slow weight gain, and I know mentally seeing it happen slowly is going to help me get used to seeing that higher number and associating it with my body and how it looks and feels, and doing it slowly is going to be easier than just doing a massive surplus, gaining weight super fast, and then freaking out over the scale jumps. So I just want it to go up slowly. I'll get used to it. And that is kind of how I'm dealing with scale fears, adherence, and all of that. The other thing with a bulk, you really don't need to add a pile of calories, and the slower you can go, the more likely you are to gain muscle without gaining the added fat. So I'll probably do another video on lean bulks another day, but that's the goal. It is to build muscle. Muscle growth takes time. It's a slow process, no matter how much you're eating, but being in a surplus is going to help speed it up more than being on maintenance or being in a deficit. And being in a small surplus is going to help minimize fat gain. So it's going to give your body enough nutrients to actually build new muscle without storing it as fat. Whereas if you just use a super big surplus, you're more likely to store the extra energy as fat because your body just can't build muscle that quickly. The other thing I'm really going to be worried about is my strength going up in the gym. If it is not going up, then I'll probably increase my food. If my body weight is not going up as well, I will have to increase my food, because that will be an indication that I'm not building new muscle, and that is the goal. I hope that makes sense, and I hope you can see there's a lot more involved than just having a training plan and having a nutrition plan to stick to. The more factors you take into account, the more likely you are going to be setting yourself up for success long term. And the other thing I wanted to say as well is that this is a long-term thing. So I do want to lose fat eventually, but for now I'm in a good position where I can just focus on building muscle, gain some fat, minimal fat hopefully, and then I'm going to be in an even better position to lose fat in a few months' time, rather than just cutting now, because if I cut now, I won't have that extra muscle, I won't look as good, and also my calories won't be as high. So I'll be cutting on a lower number than what I will be down the line after I've increased my calories a few times. That is all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions about your own fitness goals, please send me an email. I put the link in the description box. And any other questions, feel free to ask as well. Thank you for watching, and I will see you